Yeah.
Like I like when I write, one of the purposes I like to be meaningful.
Yeah.
I guess. Does it ever, like I guess, bug you like how meaningful can just entertainment be?
Well, you use a just. We are doing entertainment. That's what it is. It's not a just, it's a description of what it is. But describing a statue as a rock is true. What you are doing is entertainment. People are going to pick up your book for entertainment purposes. That's why they go get it. Unless, there are people who are writing different types of things. But I'm going to guess everyone in this class, the reason someone walks to grab that book is entertainment. And a good book is going to deliver a number of things alongside it. But you have to remember, they are walking to pick up that book, to be entertained, and hopefully to have a meaningful experience, to learn something, to grow as a person, to see through the eyes of the other so that you come to understand other people more. But they are picking up that book to be entertained. Don't forget that. Don't forget to be fun. This is what I think. I think when we get very solemn about what our meanings are and our themes and our tomes, we start forgetting how to be fun. And there's a lot of different types of fun and a lot of different books that are fun in different ways. But don't forget to make an enjoyable experience alongside what you're giving, because that's why they're picking up your book. Yes?
So, connected to that, how do you put meanings in your books without preaching?
It's a good question. I would say that for me, and there are various schools of thought on this. There are some people who will build a story around a meaning. This is a C.S. Lewis approach. And it's hard to argue with C.S. Lewis, though Tolkien did. Where Tolkien, if you would ask him what his books are about, he would say they are about the characters and the stories that they tell and the mythology that I built. They are not about anything. They are about themselves. And this was, as I understand, a long-standing discussion between him and C.S. Lewis about how didactic stories were intended to be. And so it depends on your personal philosophy. This is a question that has to be approached kind of from a personal philosophy standpoint. For me, I feel that I am writing a story first, and the meaning will come from telling a good story. And so if I am writing characters who are deeply passionate about topics, which are meaningful, if I make my characters meaningful and place them on opposite sides of a thought process on an issue and let them discuss about it in meaningful ways, it will have depth to it by exploring both sides. And that's what I do. You get preachy by not putting in straw men. You avoid being preachy by not putting in straw men. Nothing bothers me more in fiction than a straw man, particularly one who believes as I do, and exists in the story to be taught a lesson. And that goes against the character philosophy that I've tried to express to you in this class, which is that a character is the hero in their own story. They think, live, breathe, dream, and have a life outside of the main plot of the story. And even if part of their narrative arc is to learn something about themselves, having them exist only for one purpose, to be taught a lesson, is usually going to create a flat and unengaging character. So, that is my response to you. Let the characters decide your theme. Granted, your passions are going to inform what the characters become. And so you are going to be creating it, but if you see it through the lens of the characters. The other thing I would suggest is be careful to give sympathetic protagonists with good arguments that are different from what you believe. If you really want to have depth, this is what you need to approach. If you want to discuss a topic, put in someone who researched what other people think other than you, and put in a protagonist who expresses that philosophy in a strong and meaningful way. And I believe that this is a method of achieving truth. I believe that if something is true, a strong argument is going to actually make a better argument for the truth than a weak argument will. A truth that cannot stand up to a strong argument against it is not a very good truth in the first place. So that means if you're very right-wing and you want to approach this in your books, it will make your books stronger if the people who have the opposing philosophy are not all pedophiles, which is what happens. In fiction, you will find it. How do you make the bad guy a bad guy? Number one, you make them espouse the opposite political philosophy of you, and number two, you make them a pedophile. I guarantee you can find examples of it in literature. And so stay away from doing that and instead put a strong character who, even if it's not the main character, has a philosophy that you've researched and you've given their strong arguments, and don't make the point of the book to prove them wrong. Let the reader read and say, okay, I see both of these arguments going back and forth, and I can pretty much tell, I think, what the writer's philosophy is, but the other argument is here. And if someone disagrees with you, is reading the book and they see their argument there, that will make them appreciate you as an author so much more to say, yes, that's what I believe, I am represented, and it's not a straw man. If you don't want to write books like that, that's okay. You don't have to. But if you want to do it, which you seem like you do, that is my advice to you. All right? Other questions? Right over here.
Are we going to have a section on romance?
Romance. I suppose we should, shouldn't we? Ah, boy. We probably should talk about that. I'm not sure. The thing is, romance, I basically build like I build most character interactions. I just add a romantic element to it. So I actually plot it out very similarly to the way I plot out any other character relationship interaction. I just add a romantic element to it. But we can talk about that. Let's get into let's go and do a lecture on fight scenes and romance.
Remember the shit's third law of magic?
Yeah, I mentioned that at the beginning.
I was reminding you, yeah.
Yeah, third law of magic, right? Okay. Hey, you guys and your magic systems. Just like it's like you think I do this or something. And boy, Travis isn't here, so I don't have any treats. Oh, but I got some they left that he had from last week, so I can eat those. Yep. Week-old treats. Everyone tell Travis when he comes back next week that we missed him. This was really, by the way, now that he's not here, I can tell you, a really clever ploy on his part, because I immediately started remembering his name. And I now recognize him. And this sort of little thing works. I don't know if they teach you this stuff in like the Marriott School or whatnot, but making yourself memorable for a reason like this, I mean, yeah, the person who's willing to go to extreme lengths in a non-creepy way can get very far. And so, you know, I once told a group, and they got terrified of this prospect and didn't do it, but right when iPads were coming out, I told them, get 5 of you together, go buy 5 iPads, load your books on it, and give them to 5 editors as a gift that you have interacted with somehow or you have met that you want to be, and say, hey, here's a free iPad. All you have to do is read a page of each of our works. I told them, try something that daring. That's pretty daring. That's like up to the line and maybe stepping over it for some editors, but I guarantee that editor's going to remember you. And editors are not well paid, so getting a free iPad, they'd be like, yeah! Now, they'll feel guilty, but they do it. I mean, they have seen lots of bookmarks. They've seen lots of cute doilies, and they've seen lots of, pink paper sent to them to try and draw their attention. They have seen all of that. They have not seen someone give them an iPad loaded with 5 books. But that might be over the line. I don't know. It's the sort of thing I might have tried. Except for that whole being very poor thing. But once again, being very poor, you can make that same argument going to med school. You are very poor. Yes, you are a med student. You can't afford $20,000 tuition every year. You're going to do it anyway, and that's cheap tuition. So...